Welcome to Taste Buds. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist, writer, and foodie. And today I'm speaking with Babette Pepaj, who's founder of Bakespace and BakeBot.ai. So welcome, Babette.
Well, thank you so much. I always love your community, and I always love chatting with you about great food.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you here. And you were a recent guest on Goal Chat, where we talked about the business of food. And you were talking about how BakeBot can really help you rescue older recipes and also fill in the blanks, and I'm like, "Oh, we definitely need to have a taste buds on it." Why don't you start by explaining what BakeBot is, and then we'll do a little bit of talking about the use of AI in recipes, and then we're gonna talk about food. So, good plan?
Yes, that sounds perfect.
Okay, so what is BakeBot AI?
So, BakeBot is an AI powered kitchen assistant that helps you do everything from thinking about what foods you're going to buy to seeing what's in the fridge to figure out what you can make with what you already have on hand, or going to the grocery store and being like, I see this really cool ingredient. Like, what is this? BakeBot can help create the recipe. It can walk you through the recipe with its voice and talk in real time. So, like, as you and I are talking right now, I go, what do I need to get out of the fridge? And it's like, "Oh, get the eggs, get the flour." And it's like, I don't have to look at my screen or wash my hands continuously. It just talks to me like a friend in the kitchen. So that's BakeBot. And we have BakeBot currently right now as a chat and as a recipe maker on bakespace.com, which is also a recipe community I've run since 2006. I'm the founder of that site. And then we created a whole new tool, a new website. Both of them are free called BakeBot.ai, which basically takes all of that cool technology and AI and it just makes it where it's a little bit more streamlined. You don't have to have the big community. You can tap into all of our recipes and pull them in and do a search on the web for any recipe you want. Um, but it's just easier when you're at the grocery store to be able to just like pull it up and say, BakeBot, like, show me this. What am I going to do here? We launched that about a year ago and, it's been really fun because I've been in food since 2006 and seeing how community members and home cooks share recipes. And I had thought I saw it all until I saw AI. And I was like, wow, this isn't just about making a new recipe. This is about like actually helping someone at the most important moment of cooking. I accidentally put in the flour in the wrong order or I did something really bad. Like, how do I fix that? And so that's what I really see the excitement of AI, of the potential of what it can do for home cooks. I think if home cooks started looking at it as not just a recipe maker, but as like a kitchen companion, I think it would completely change the game.
What do you think has been the biggest trend in cooking over the last, oh my goodness, 20 years? 20 years.
Wow. I think accessibility to online content. Now, you don't have to go and buy just a cookbook about North African recipes. You can do a Google search, you can find a blogger, you can find a cookbook author who's on Instagram. Like you have such access directly to people who are making food that you're gonna discover, um, and you just don't know, it's like it pops up in a moment where it's like something might be trending and you're like, "What is this?" It's like there's these really wonderful moments of discovery, that I think completely changes how people cook. Like, you're not just in, like, celebrity kitchens, you're in kitchens in every corner of the world, and to be able to ask those questions and say, like, "How do I make this?" Like, "What is this kind of cuisine?" What are these ingredients? I've never seen this before. Like, your family makes these every holiday. How have I never heard of this? Like there's such a great I would say that that's social media, which sounds so funny in my mind to think to say that, but it's like social media is like the cooking tool no one knew that they needed.
Things no longer are called recipes. It's the
Oh,
social media this. It
yes.
is the viral recipe for that, right?
No, absolutely. It's exciting to see all the different. First of all, everything is different on every single platform. So you can like find your tribe no matter where you are and what type of food you like to make. But then you can drill down, you can really like follow people and see what else they've made. And it's almost It's kind of like a living cookbook because when you're looking at someone's feed and you scroll through and you go, "Oh my gosh," like you might have discovered them based on one recipe, but then you start going through all their other content and you're like, "Wow, this person's pretty interesting. I'm going to try something else here." And it's easy to collect screenshots or to bookmark something. It's like unlimited. You could just be like, I just saved 1,000 recipes and like it took up no room in my house. I don't have to archive it. The problem is finding those recipes later, but luckily BakeBot can do that for you. But if you can get over that hurdle, it's really a fun way to discover new authors too. Lots of authors put recipes from their cookbooks that they're about to publish online as well, and that can help with early sales. Just discovering new people. So that's pretty fun.
And have you tried any of these viral social media things, and what was the best one?
Hmm. I do like the whipped coffee. It's like I forgot what it's called. It starts with the D, Delongo or whatever coffee that is, where it's like you take the instant coffee and you make it into a whip. I really love that. I've been wanting to try the cottage cheese ice cream. Mom just sent me, and I just saw it recently too, which was boiled eggs. Have you seen that?
No,
I
but
it's very
okay.
strange. It's like, yeah, you boil like 6 eggs, you put it in a blender, you add a half a cup of sugar, I forgot what a cocoa goes into it, and then some milk, and it's like half a cup, half a cup, half a cup, and I might not be that might not be the exact recipe, but it seems like that, and then you blend it until it becomes like pudding, and I thought, "That's interesting," but that does take a lot of sugar too, but, who knows how much sugar is actually in, like, real pudding. But I thought, "That's interesting." And so my mom sent it to me, and I love when I see like, if I see something, because I feel like I'm pretty tapped into, like, what people are looking at, but then, like, my mom sends me something, I'm like, "Whoa, it has really gone around the world." Like, not only is she, like, sending it got on her radar, and she's like, "You should try this," like, as though I haven't seen it yet, which is hilarious because 'cause I'm always like, "I've already seen this, old news. This is, like, 4 hours ago." What I really love about food, one of my favorite things is that you can be anywhere. It's almost like having a dog. If you're on the street and someone else has another dog, like you guys are instant friends because you speak each other's language. You know exactly how to be like, "So, what's your dog's name? How old is your dog? Like, what does it like to eat? Oh, it has a scratch too. Like, what do you do for fleas?" Like there's like these certain things that you feel instantly like that's a good person. Like that person takes care of an animal and you can see it. Like it's just awesome. But with cooking, it's the same way. There's so many things that you can talk about. Like if I love frosting and I love cake decorating. So if I find somebody in like a sea of people and they're wearing a shirt that says like cupcakes, oh yes, it's like that's my person. I'm gonna go talk to them and be like, so what kind of recipe do you like? If there's anything that can connect people, it's definitely food.
And social media has made that conversation easier than ever to initiate.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that, because people are cooks at different levels, you can find somebody who has the same style as you. Busy mom, um, has to prepare for a big family or single, like cooking for one. Like you can just gravitate to somebody who has the same lifestyle. It's like, okay, I trust this person. I'm gonna try their recipe. And then there's this feeling of after you try the recipe to go back and tell them how it was. I think it's like almost like it's like the gift that keeps on giving because you're helping somebody make a great recipe. And then all of a sudden it's like they're coming back and they're like, that was delicious. Like, thank you so much. And then you're like, wow, it's like the person gets to experience it indirectly. But that's a real fun thing, I think, too.
We've got the high holidays coming up, and one of the things that struck me when we had the last conversation on Gold Chat is you were talking about oh, how it can help you rescue older faded recipes. So, how can it do that? What is this magic?
I don't know if this happens to you, but lots of us have old recipe books, binders that have cutouts of recipes that have been like cooked with over and over and over again. Most of the time, if you're the person who cut that out and you've been making those recipes for years, you know what's missing. Like you've already worked through the recipe. You already remember. You're like, "Oh, I gotta, fold in the cheese or whatever." You already kind of know everything. So sometimes when a recipe is missing something, like you're missing half of the, like there's like a front card, back card, and there was like a third piece like who has the original recipe doesn't necessarily need to be. So there might be something missing on a recipe, or maybe there's a direction missing, or there's an ingredient missing from the list. And when you're making something, you know, um, you're making a recipe blind. Like this is the first time you're making a recipe. You read it like a hawk. You go through and you're like, well, it says mix in the cheese, and it's like, well, where is the cheese? What kind of cheese? How much cheese? Like, it's not even in the ingredient list. So you're like, what am I gonna do? And then you're sometimes you don't realize until you're like through the recipe and you're in the process of cooking and stuff is like in the oven, stuff, you've already mixed all your flour, your sugar, your baking soda, and you're like, oh, shoot, like, it's missing something, like, what do I do? That was actually the inspiration for starting BakeBot was I went to Pinterest and I saw all these comments, and all the comments were saying, it's missing this ingredient because our recipes are user generated. They're from home cooks. So sometimes a home cook will miss something. They're not writing it like a professional cookbook author who has an editor who goes through and makes sure that everything matches up. They're writing from their head, they're writing from their memory. They're trying to recreate the recipe. So they'll go through. And so I started seeing all these comments and I was like, how do people get those answers right away when it's like you have to know everything about the culinary world to be able to even answer those? And I thought, oh my gosh, AI, that could do it. So that's really the the real kind of magic behind the scenes is being able to look at a recipe, see if something's missing, and then be able to modify it. So for example, you might have a recipe that's in your family, and all of a sudden your sister-in-law is gluten-free, and you're like, well, she's gotta eat something, you gotta give her something. So you're like, "Well, how do I make this gluten-free?" Or maybe you became vegan and you're like, I wanna figure out how to make something where I can take the flavors of the original recipe, but I don't wanna be able to use this protein, or I wanna change the protein because now my child is allergic to something." If you have ever gone to culinary school, the hardest part is modifying a recipe. It's understanding like what you can use in place of that ingredient and how much. So BakeBot does that all for you. It does all the math. So it can look at a recipe and go, "Oh, this is you're trying to make this, you want to keep it within the same style, you want to make sure it has the same flavors. Here's what you can do, and now here's everything we've changed and how it gets affected the recipe. You're going to need to add more water, more oil, something to counterbalance it." So that's really like when people are preparing for especially like a anything that's holiday related, anything that's truly memorable, anything that has history and tradition and things that you don't want to mess up. You know that certain holidays have certain foods, and especially, like, I married a guy, my husband's Jewish and I'm Catholic. You come into a family that already has this great tradition and years of, like, these flavors and these foods mean something. Um, and so you wanna come in and you're like, "What's the history here? What's the symbolic meaning for these ingredients, and how do I not mess this up?" And also to understand the meaning of them. So I think by having something like BakeBot and pretty much, lots of AI can do this, you can stop worrying when you actually sit down at the table and you can enjoy being with your family and be like, wow, like this is a great experience.
So, have you developed a taste for certain Jewish foods? Do you have a favorite?
I am a sweet person. I'm definitely a sweet person. I do not like gefilte fish. That's one thing I'm like, I can't, I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. But I really love the feeling when you sit down at the table. It's like the whole world opened up and I had a real true appreciation for the community, for the food and how much food really matters. It's pretty remarkable.
And as you know, the main foods associated with the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, is the challah and the
Mm,
honey.
I do like
And
that. I do like that a lot. I gotta stay away from bread, but I do like that. It's actually really I love how beautiful it looks.
yes, and then it's even more beautiful when you get to tear off a piece and dip it in honey for the sweet new year.
Absolutely.
Do you have any final food for thought on a way someone can use BakeBot or let me rephrase it. What final food for thought do you have about how people can use AI to bring more magic into their holiday meal?
Well, I think that AI is really great at starting a conversation. So you might not realize like where the conversation is going to go when you begin, but when it starts to talk to you and it starts to try to figure out like what are you trying to get? Are you trying to get a new recipe or are you trying to change something and modify it, or are you trying to learn something? And I think once you open up and you say, you know, I'm really nervous. I'm making dinner for the first time and I want to impress my mother-in-law. Like, what can I do to like really just kick this out of the park? You know, like what can I do to make this a really wonderful time so that you feel confident? And because it's already stressful enough, you know. If you use it as a like a launch pad. And I think once you just open yourself up to that curiosity, I think it will really inspire you and it will give you magic back. If you just go, give me a recipe for this, a traditional recipe, it's like, yes, it's probably going to spit out a recipe that you've seen before and it's not going to try to like dazzle you. So I think if you just start it as a conversation, like you're hanging out with a friend and you go, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Like, what do you think? Is this really the best idea? Like, is it what would be stupid? Like, how could this backfire on me? How long would this take to make? Like, is this even realistic?" I think if you start to think of it like a cook, like a kitchen coach or an assistant, a friend, it would be like having a grandma in the kitchen with you the whole step of the way. You can say, I want to make this recipe, but I need to modify it. I have 12 people coming. I have 17 people coming. I have 3 people coming. I have 2 people, you know, 2 people coming and this is a for 6 people and I don't want to waste the food. So if you start thinking of it that way of like, how can it be my go-to for when I need to change something or modify it? Um, could be pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Babette, for joining me to talk about the joy of cooking and the joy of cooking with AI. Where can people learn more about you and BakeBot?
Sure. If they go to bakespace.com, they can see BakeBot AI at the top in the menu bar. That's actually like our like landing page so that you can create recipes, ask it questions, and try it. But if they want to do the vision, like if they want to point it at their fridge and say like, "What can I make today? Like here are my ingredients," or they wanted to talk to they can go to BakeBot.ai. Both are free to join, and you can use both of them without joining. You can actually do the chat on both platforms directly from the homepage. So, um, and if they want to find me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always open to chatting with other folks, finding great recipes. If you have a really good Jewish sweet recipes, you send them to me because I would love that for sure.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for joining me. Thank you for tuning in to Taste Buds with Deb. Don't miss an episode. You can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, and or your favorite podcast platform. And if you go to jewishjournal.com/podcast, you can read the articles that go with each episode. And Babette is going to go into BakeBot to create a surprise recipe. So you will get that in the recap article as well. And you can learn more at tastebudswithdeb.com. Until next time, play with AI, play with your food, and bon appetit.